Hi everybody, welcome. The intention for the next few minutes with you is to share some insights about how, why, and when to do launch trainings. So we've got a cool little panel here of a lot of experienced leaders and some very pretty people. Presidential Plus. So let me introduce Laura Jacobs, Natalie Goddard, I'm Andrew June Donovan, Kristen Van Wey, and Melody Watts. So let's talk first about why would you do launch trainings?
Why not?
I was going to say, why wouldn't you?
Everybody needs an onboarding process. Every network marketing company has an onboarding process. So it's so powerful to have something that gets people going, right? These wannabe builders, help them become builders in a quick, simple, powerful fashion.
I like onboarding. I also like that it duplicates. Like, it's something that's so simple, and we'll talk about who can do it, but it's quick and it's easy.
Well, in essence, people need a track to run on, right? And when they come into an opportunity, no matter how experienced they are in life, they're inexperienced in this opportunity. And so if we assume that they're going to figure it out for themselves, then we've set back their progress, perhaps temporarily or even permanently. But if we simply show the track to run on, then everybody, it really does become an equal opportunity.
What's fun about that is we really set them up for success, right? I can, hope that everything's going to work out for my builders, but if I give them a track to run on, it sets them up for success, and I'm doing my part.
Exactly.
Some of my favorite points are the fact that I like the bigger vision. I like to see the whole pathway. So you have a track, but I want to know what is in store for the whole picture, so then it breaks it down into really bite-sized pieces for me.
It makes you feel like you could do it, like anybody could do it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
Yes.
And honestly, we can't handle goals. We could set our sights on the big carrot, whatever that big rank or income accomplishment is that we want, but we're really built in seasons. The weather necessarily changes about every 90 days because we need things to change up. So if we can help break those aspects or components down of how we're to get to whatever the goal is into 90-day sprints, which the launch training, the launch guide, the launch process to hit elite, really we say on the outset, it's a 90-day experience preferably. And so we're helping people set that pace.
Yeah.
What I love about it is that people get so excited about these products that when you can bring in a system to give them the skill set to share the products, they feel so much more confident, and they're just able to hit the ground running rather than trying to figure it out all on their own. And I find that for me, when I first came into doTERRA, luckily I had an upline to come in and train me step by step, but this process makes it so much easier, and I don't feel like I would have been able to grow the way that I was able to grow if I didn't have the training that I was given. Because like Laura said, it doesn't matter how much experience you have in the real world. If you don't know how to build a doTERRA business, if you don't have the skill set, if you don't have the training or the leadership skill set, even though you might have leadership skill sets in the real world, it's a learned skill set in doTERRA. So I love that we're given the opportunity through this simple process to really launch our builders with a skill set that gives them confidence to go out there and build a business and be successful.
And we're really passionate about age-appropriate training is what we call it, right? That when you're first starting out your business, no matter how mature you are in life, you're still young. The launch training is targeted to the age-appropriate, rank-appropriate, skill set mastery, everything, so it's not overwhelming, it's doable, because our goal really is at every phase for the person to see what lies ahead, that next 90-day sprint, and say, I can do that. Mm-hmm. And the launch training makes it so doable.
It gives them what they need when they need it.
Yeah, right? For sure. And every single personality type can learn in this system. It covers really all modalities of receiving information, whether it be your auditory or visual, whether you're kinesthetic. We have an opportunity to learn in all of these sets.
Right, the videos support in one way. You've got worksheets that you can be working through and taking this information and really making it a part of you so you can be successful in your business.
Now, when you're stepping into any industry, it's really normal to see these giants on stage, people that are super successful, and to think, whoa, when will I ever get there? Our message with launch trainings is that you don't have to be this experienced guru to be able to host a launch training. So who hosts launch trainings?
Well, right out of the gates, we would like to encourage people who have attained the rank of silver, which of course is comprised of 3 elites, 3 people who have accomplished this launch sprint. So they've been there, kind of done that's enough experience to set you up to be a successful trainer. So really, silvers and above, we encourage you to hold and to sponsor these launch trainings.
And you're qualified to do that because you've already launched at least 3 builders yourself. So you know what the process is. It's just doing it on a more consistent, a little bit of a routine basis, right?
Right, and they can be anywhere. They can be in your living room. They can be, on a Zoom chat. You can even do a launch on a Zoom chat or whatever modality you're using to communicate with your team. I love that it's so duplicatable and you can do it anywhere.
Now, when do you guys and how often do you do them?
I do them monthly for my local team, and then occasionally I will Zoom in if I need to help a team member that's in a different state. And I encourage them to do them monthly as well.
Same here.
And I think, so if we were to survey the greater leadership arena in doTERRA, there are some that are doing them as infrequently as quarterly. However, I would agree with the monthly training because there's constantly new people coming in, and I don't want them to be all enthusiastic and then say, hey, 3 months down the road, we'll catch you on that training. So I think that monthly pattern is the most healthy to make sure there's always an opportunity for a new person to jump right in.
I'd love to speak on that a little bit, the monthly training idea. So it's imperative that a healthy builder culture on a team have that. It's normal for new people to be coming in regularly. If you don't have people to train on a monthly basis, you know that you've got to rewind a little bit and start recreating that builder culture to where it's our normal thing that we do on our team. We recruit, we bring in new business builders regularly so that we need to do a launch training every month.
Exactly. Well, we're encouraging people at this level, right, to go to Elite through launch, to be bringing in at least one builder in that period of time, right? So, and then we're helping them set up for their dream to become a Premier Next. So now they've got this builder, and how would it be to say to them, now 90 days from now, we can help you onboard that builder? That's not going to be adequate. And so having something, again, every month where they can get that exposure and that track to run on, that's going to help every tier be able to move up and reach their goals.
That's the power of momentum is what we want to tap into, right? So that enrolling, it brings that awesome energy, and we want to tap into that momentum and get things rolling. So if we keep that onboarding process as, on a monthly basis, then we're fueling that momentum all along. And that's what we want to duplicate.
And the nice thing is now they have all of the tools. You guys have all of the tools to be able to do this, and it's duplicatable because it's all written out for you.
And consistency is absolutely vital, because if it's like the training looks like this and then it looks like this and then it looks like that, then the people, because you want leaders coming back and repeating the process because they're bringing their people and they're there to support the training, they can participate in it. And the consistency of duplication is incredibly vital for the livelihood. So there's always time for the art, where you have your stories and how you implemented these concepts and what your best practices are. But make sure you're always adhering to the core principles and the core training, because that consistency is, again, what constantly infuses that feeling of, I can do this. Yeah. And so can the next person.
Now, on that topic, let's discuss that a little bit, because that seems to be one of the biggest barriers to entry, right? Maybe you're a younger builder, you've just hit silver rank, and you're thinking, do I know enough? Do I have some fancy pants PowerPoint that I can throw up on a screen? Do you need it? And you guys have had access to watching an actual video of a live team training, right? It was 2 hours long, and we like that for a few reasons, because it just makes it really easy to duplicate. You don't have to get a babysitter for the entire day, right? It can just be, have the kids stay with your friend next door for a couple hours while you go to a training. But the content seems to be a big question. What do people train on specifically at these trainings?
We've done these launch trainings for a year plus, right? And played around with different pieces of it to see what really sticks and what really makes a difference. And this 2-hour training I'm loving, because now that the guide is so streamlined, we can take 2 hours, bring some life to the guide, take it deeper, bring that message home, and we're good to go.
Well, and let's be honest, we've been around for a while, right? And we've done a lot of different trainings.
What are you saying, Lauren?
We're old. But we've been there. We did the 3-day thing, right? Where it would take, a warm-up night and then an all-day learning about all these skill sets, and then into the next day. And, we'd watch people kind of overfill. Their bucket was overflowing, and it was too much information. And I really like placing responsibility in the hands of those who want to succeed. So why not encourage them to have watched the videos, for example, in their level of training. So in this case, it would be the launch videos. And they come prepared. So that the launch training isn't their first exposure to this, because then what it allows us to do is be interactive. So what I prefer, and this is why, again, I love this 2-hour idea, is then we can jump in and we can interact and we can practice some of our skill sets. And I love the comp training, for example, or the build guide, just really breathing life into the opportunity and helping cast vision for those attendees, because that's what fills their heart with the belief that will fuel their action. And so I would highly encourage, again, based on experience doing it all the wrong ways to figure out the right way, is just be selective. And in addition to that, know your audience, because what if it's a team where everyone's just really brand new and babies and there's not a lot of experience in the room? Then maybe you're going to want to cater some of your training to more exact training on particular pieces. Or maybe it's a group of builders who've been around for a while, they're just not advancing and they want to, but it's because they have a lack of skill set. You might be training with them on a higher level, or you have a mixed crowd. So we've provided, there's PowerPoint options, or there's all the tools. It's fun just to train from the tools. There's really not a need for a PowerPoint to be successful. And think of it as a library of possibilities or chapters or modules. And feel free to pull those out and be selective. We've pulled out what we feel, if they've had that exposure, would perhaps be kind of an ideal training. But by all means, this is where the art comes in, right? You have the system of duplication. The art is that you're going to be discerning as to the needs of your team members. And the good news is, if you're doing your trainings every month, well, maybe there's a focus on certain skill sets this month and a certain focus the next month, and a little bit of maybe a 90-day rotation, so that those skill sets are always being covered, and as those people return and bring their builders, they're having an opportunity to get exposed.
And you'll increase your intuition too, as you have that connection with your team on a regular basis. You'll get more of a feel for what their needs are, whether it be placements right now, or you start to notice a certain, thing start to decline in your team. You know that that's what you accentuate in the team training that month.
I want to plug in one note. As you're starting out with these trainings, I know that some people, you start a launch training and you think, oh, everybody's going to be coming. Well, sometimes people are watching to see how committed you are. And so when I talk to leaders that have implemented these launch trainings into their team, a lot of them found, hey, I did them for 3 months and we had a handful show up, or this many show up. And then actually, word got around the difference that it was making. And that's why now we fill my living room, we fill beyond that, we've got the Zoom and my living room. So
you're saying
if you stick with the consistency, it's going to work out, but stick with it.
Well, and I think the point there that's being so well invited is we earn the right. And I think a lot of times we think, well, I hold a position, I'm holding a training, therefore people should show up. And they do, they watch, and they decide, is this worth my time? And so by consistently showing up on our part, we're going to earn the right to grow our audience and to grow our influence.
It's kind of like, you know how we say begin with the end in mind, right? And we all of us do it. We envision our next stage in our business. If you were to envision a living room with a handful or a couple handfuls of people and say, that's what that's what I'm envisioning here, you've got to show up first. Like if I want to create that, I've got to start showing up at and provide a space for the people to come. And even if it takes a few months, so worth it, right?
Well, and don't be afraid of the smallness. There's something to be said for the intimacy of a few coming and being able to really cater to them and answer their questions. And so I love to just trust who shows up. Whatever the size of the audience, however large or small, it's perfect. And that the right people who you're ready for will come. And so if you want to have people come that aren't coming, ask yourself how you can be ready for that audience.
Now, Melody had a tip about sharing a story at a launch training.
I think just being able to go in and share your story of why you do doTERRA, why you've chosen it as a vehicle, can help breathe life into some of the people who maybe haven't been at that level where you are right now. A lot of people think, they've become so successful because they're at this rank. But just knowing where you came from and what your why is can help them learn how to develop their why and also share their doTERRA story.
And realize that humans do this, not just superheroes.
Right, and maybe if you're a silver starting out, you share your story, right? That's growing, it's becoming, it's in process. And you could lean on the story of your upline, that maybe has advanced even beyond that. So bring those things together. You're in the perfect place.
And trust that you know enough. Really, seriously, it's so important that you trust that right now, right where you are, you know enough, and that people will absolutely benefit from you sharing your story, sharing your experience, that you're in the middle of it, and we all have this amazing system of duplication to rely on, and that is enough.
Exactly.
Yeah, you show up being authentic, you be you, And we're creating community, and that's part of at that silver level where you're defining that community. And I love the structure. I love this program, but it is the breathing life. It's like we have the bones, and now you guys are filling all of the flesh in on this and giving it life.
Laura, can you just walk us through a little bit about how we use that launch folder to make sure that we have the whole system in one spot?
Absolutely. These are wonderful. You can purchase them in packs of 10 ready to be assembled. And this whole idea of launch your business and our pipe system is exemplified here on the cover. And the attendee receives this beautiful folder that helps them see through the pipe system how each of the tools function in their business. And so here you have, as it's unfolded here, from beginning to launch. So when it comes to sampling, teaching classes, onboarding new members through the Live Guide, sharing, buildings tucked behind, and then the launch guide here. So this is critical during your training to make sure that every attendee has an opportunity to have each tool and to capture that big vision. How does each piece work into the overall overarching system of success for everybody? You have the success of yourself in your own business. You have the success of your prospects that you're enrolling into customers and into your customer culture. And then you have the success of your builders, which are these new attendees, these new builders, and showing them how to be successful. So this is just critical.
And it's so nice that they can go home with something. Like they have something tangible to go home and to read and to take notes on and feel like they have every single tool that they need now to be successful. Like they don't have to go home and try to order it or piece it together. It's just all in one place. I think that's really valuable.
I think it's key that they see themselves in the process, right? They can see, goodness, everything's been prepared for me. I have this perfect process with these pieces to support me. I don't have to be a rocket scientist. I don't have to be a part of doTERRA for 6 months to know everything before I should open my mouth. I'm good to go.
You don't have to do the launch training.
That's right.
It's so accessible.
It's not
So
rocket
simple.
science. You're just launching.
Yeah, I was just going to say, you don't have to have it, but you are launching that.
Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we've got a few last tips, right?
Right. One key, before your people come, have them do the prepare section. In that launch spread, just make sure they've done those prepare items. Then you can really focus in and bring the other invite, present, enroll pieces home, right? Because you're not spending all this time on the details. Have them do that beforehand so they're coming ready to take off.
Well, and my tip would be to always be prepared. I love to have, a tote or some kind of collection you've already created. So everything that you would need for your training is already all gathered, and when you're done with the training, just restock it. So it's a grab and go. You don't have to go through this whole laborious process. Keep this simple, because as long as every member or every attendee has this folder and you're there to breathe life into it, that is enough for a successful training.
Right.
Yes.
I love what Melody shared earlier, too, before we started filming about you don't have to be a blue diamond to...
Right. I just remember, when I was going out to train my teams, just feeling like I didn't even have the skill set or the know-how to train my team until I was a blue diamond. And I feel like it is so valuable that we have these tools that we can start, even at the rank of silver and go in and do a launch training. We don't have to be fancy. We don't have to rent out a hotel room. We don't have to create these big, huge events that some of us did in the beginning when we were training. You can start doing this in your own home, giving people the tools they need at the rank of silver.
And that's the difference between having a system and not having a system.
Right.
When there's not a system, it really requires the special people to show up and to bring it. But when there is a system, again, as I said in the beginning, it creates an equal opportunity. And this is critical. It's having that track to run on, simply showing how to put it to work. And then silver is absolutely a wonderful rank to be doing the training.
The last thing I want someone saying after I put on a big, huge, training event at the rank of blue diamond as an elite saying, oh, I could never do that. We want people to go, oh, you can just sit here and train the skill set in your living room with 3 of your builders and have all the tools you need ready to go. You don't have to duplicate on such a high level until you're ready, until you grow what Laura Jacobs talked about, when just growing that maturity cycle of building those leadership skills at silver, gold, and beyond, getting to that blue diamond. Sure, there might be a time when you do a big event, but you don't have to wait until you're a blue diamond to start training, which is amazing.
And you shouldn't wait.
And you shouldn't wait. Because it's just a lot more work for you. It's a lot more work for you to go in and have to individually go in and train your downline to their specifics, when you can go in and you have a system that's very duplicatable, that you don't have to overextend yourself as you're building your business. Sure. Are you working hard? Sure. Are you in the trenches with your team? Yes. But you're at such a higher level of efficiency because of the skill set that you're able to teach your team.
Yeah, you're streamlining your efforts into what makes a difference for growth in your business. And I felt a lot like you did. I was searching. I didn't have a system, and I was grappling at all these things. And when I found the Share Success system, it was like a miracle in my life. I loved it. It was such a miracle. It gave me every bit of energy I put into something brought me towards a goal. And so as a leader at Silver, we're developing those leadership qualities. And that was so important to have a track on that. So I'm so grateful.
I want to make sure we really draw from the continuum of what Natalie said about the attendee being prepared all the way to feeling this pressure as an upline to create a training. And I think, again, it's important that we shift the burden of responsibility. And when there is no system, when it's not really clear what you're doing, it really does shift higher up rank. But when there's a system in place, it appropriately moves responsibility lower and right into the hands of the person who desires to build. We can't emphasize enough Natalie's counsel to really encourage, make it a point of entry that you've come showing or demonstrating, I have checked off every single thing in the prepare column of that launch spread, and I'm coming prepared, because it's the attendee's responsibility, it's the launcher's responsibility to bring themselves prepared, and then you can match that commitment with your training. And so let's really understand the value of what's being taught here. It's not about a high-ranking person coming in and teaching it unless there's just nothing really concrete and clear. But because there is, the secret is this combination between the new person coming prepared to learn and do and somebody who's just a step or two ahead of them, and that's perfect.
Have that be their ticket to get in, right? In this process, I would also say, remember why you're doing this. You want them to walk away with increased belief in the company and opportunity, and increased belief in their ability to be successful, right? You have this window that if you set them up for success in these initial phases, they are going to be so much more likely to build a successful long-term business with doTERRA. The numbers show it. So help them onboard right? It's a powerful process. You've got this. It's super simple. Keep it that way.
Yep. So now you've seen why you do launch training, who silvers and above, how frequently, monthly is best. You figure out what works best for your team, and the content is just what's in the launch guide. And if you want to throw in a video or two from the launch training online, you totally can. You know, this reminds me of a story from the book Beach Money, when Jordan Adler finally found his 11th network marketing company after failing the first 10, and he was following around this guy that did the same presentation everywhere he went. Do you remember this? And he noticed that it would city to city, Jordan would bring his prospects, and this guy that was a big wig in the company, he did the same presentation over and over again. And normally you'd think, wouldn't that get so old? Is that authentic? And then he realized, oh, it duplicates. It's simple. And that's what this is. It's smart, and it can be fun, and it's also simple, and it duplicates. So we invite you, our friends, and our teammates to start implementing this into your teams consistently.